Ghost in the Night with Phil Sams. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Ghost in the Night, a hauntings and paranormal podcast. In today's episode, I had a conversation with Fear Not Paranormal, a husband and wife team out of South Carolina. Really great couple. Really enjoyed talking to them. And what I really like about them, they are in this for the right reasons. They are looking to help people and get people to understand what's going on and how to handle it and how to deal with it. So it was a great conversation. And I really think you're going to love it. Just for the mere fact, if you're an investigator, we kind of talked about protecting yourself and the importance of really going out of your way to make sure you're safe out there and not bringing anything home. So stick around, watch the entire episode. You're going to get something out of it. And be sure to follow them at Fear Not Paranormal on Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also, they have a Facebook page, Fear Not Paranormal. Like and subscribe to all of them. Help them out. Let's get their numbers up. And with that said, let's go ahead and cover a little bit of business real quick. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ghost in the Night. Also, follow me on Twitter at @night_ghost. That's where I give all the updates on the podcast, upcoming guest. If there's a delay or anything, it'll be on Twitter. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start the podcast. All right, we have on the phone, or actually on video chat if you're watching on YouTube, Stevie from Fear Not Paranormal and Brianne, correct? Brianne? Okay. They are located in South Carolina. They're a paranormal investigating group, and they are nice enough to join us today. How are you guys doing tonight?
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for joining me. Like I told you earlier, I want to focus the interview basically on that last video series you did, the two-parter from the Old Gunn Church. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you got started in the paranormal field.
Well, me personally, I was born this way. My first paranormal experience, I guess, probably when I was 3. So I've pretty much been like this my whole life. As far as being in the paranormal, I've been in the paranormal the whole time. So I figured if I could maybe help somebody else,
right? Yeah.
Give some answers. There's a lot of issues people have with their houses, and they're scared to ask people for help. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. Doing the videos kind of gives me an outlet to show people what we can do.
Right, exactly. Because that's pretty much the same thing I want to do. I wanted this podcast basically to be people sharing their stories, and if they have issues and trying to find answers. It's hard to get people to open up, and because I don't know whether it's an embarrassment factor or the fact that they think people won't believe them, but it's hard to get people to open up.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Trying to talk about it seriously with people, you get eye rolls, and people, no, I'm not into that, and kind of giggling and shrugging it off. And then there's a whole other group of people out there that are dealing with it every day.
Exactly.
And, have to live in what they would call torment,
Mm-hmm.
live in their homes, or, more often than not, it's not the house, but the people that are haunted.
Right, exactly. Because that's like how I got started, because much like you, I started about 3 years old, and pretty much probably 5 of the places I've lived throughout my life have had activity, including the place I live now. So people who have that experience tend to have it wherever they go. And
time.
Yeah, exactly. So how long have you been doing this? I mean, here as an as a investigating team?
We're new. We've been here doing this about 2 months.
Right, really. And how many?
Yeah.
And I believe last time we talked, you kind of said you've been on 10, 11 investigations.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's impressive. That's busy work. I wish I had that kind of time.
I've tried to stay busy. A lot of late nights.
Right, exactly. That's the one bad thing. It's like you got to go out at night, and it's just a pain in the ass, really, to go out at night and stay up, especially if you have to work during the day. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can do an investigation during the day. To me, there's not very much difference. It's all
Right.
about
Yeah.
and who you are. Their spirits. A lot of times they just might not want to talk to somebody.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of hit and miss. And it's funny how I've known from my experiences, and I don't know about you, you can elaborate on it, but different people experience different things at different locations. I mean, I've been to places here lately where I felt nothing, received nothing on audio. Video was basically just like looking at nothing. I mean, no experience whatsoever. Other people have gotten unbelievable EVPs, and it's kind of weird how some people can get it and have personal experiences, and you might not. It's who they choose to interact with.
Yeah, pretty much. The energy is a flow. Everything's made up of energy. Spirits are made up of energy, so of course they can feel other energies. And I feel, that's how attachments happen. Oftentimes, an entity will feel an attachment for someone's energy and want to stay there with that specific energy.
Right, exactly. So let's go ahead and talk about this Old Gunn Church. From the videos, it looked super creepy, and I remember in the first video you were supposed to have some people come down with you and investigate with you.
Yeah. I was supposed to have 2 friends come with me, and they had a family member pass away, and they wasn't able.
Yeah, that's always rough. So you went ahead and
real quick, can I introduce the co-star with Fear Not Paranormal, my wife, and she didn't get a chance to introduce herself.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't do that. Or did I do? I did that before we started, didn't I?
You asked me what my name was, and I told you it was Brianne, but that's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm so sorry.
Super cool things too. I promise you won't be disappointed. So, I work in a metaphysical shop, and you said people like this might sound crazy. I probably hear that 100 times a week. I work 5 days a week. I am a Reiki master. I also do tarot card readings. We sell crystals and herbs and oils, and I help people all day long who have problems, who think something's attached to them. I teach classes. I do all sorts of, interesting things. I haven't been able to go on an investigation with him because we have kids, so I'm always at home, but hoping to get to go on one, and I'm an intuitive empath. So I don't see them, but I feel them.
Right.
So she's really handy to have.
Absolutely. I mean, you're right.
Negative entities, she starts to feel immediately walking into a house a deep kick in her gut.
Yeah.
And immediately from that, we know exactly kind of what we're dealing with from that point. So a strong empath is very pertinent to have on an investigation.
I agree. And actually, now that I know all this, we're going to have to get you on. We could do a whole episode just on you, because I am so, I want to say.
I do all kinds of really cool stuff.
I mean, so that whole, I know you both do have some abilities, correct? I mean, you're the empath, and you also have some sensitivity, or.
Oh, I
honestly,
do.
I can't tell you exactly what I am.
Right.
I a lot of everything. Can't really, I guess, a paranormal medium.
He's RH negative. Do you know what RH negative is?
I'm ignorant, so no, I do not.
Okay, so RH negative is special blood that's really new that they think is kind of alien. And it's in the royal blood line, so all royal families are RH negative. And it actually stands for rhesus hemoglobin negative, which means there is no rhesus monkey DNA in him at all. Where me and you have genetic ties to monkeys or whatever. People with Rh negative blood do not. They're supposed to be more psychic. They are supposed to have extra vertebrae and be more sensitive to the sun. And there's just a lot of really alien, foreign things that Rh negative people have. And then have fun fact about me is that I'm actually not all human. I got my DNA done, and it came back that I'm part Neanderthal.
Really?
Yes. So I'm 2% Neanderthal. My mom's 4% Neanderthal. My grandfather is 6.5% Neanderthal. Yes. So
how is that possible with the way evolution has happened, and when they died out.
Proof. I am proof.
Well, they didn't die out. They was bred out.
Humans.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Proof. So we joke and we say we have Neanderthalians for babies. Our children are very special.
Great. Yeah. But like I said, we're going to have to get you, because that whole, what you do fascinates me in terms of that, because I have feelings, but I wouldn't say I'm sensitive or an empath whatsoever, but it's just, a gut. I call it a gut feeling.
Everybody's got something. The
right,
more you
everybody
pay
has
attention to it, the stronger it gets. The more grateful you are for it, the stronger it gets. The people today, the problem is they don't listen to their guts, and they talk themselves out of things that they see, and that's how you lose it. So
right.
You're special or not, it's all out there. It just depends on how much attention you pay to it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm fascinated by it, and because I don't know whether it can be learned by, like you said, I think we all have some sort of psychic ability. It's just when we're kids, it's stomped out of us, the life is stomped out of us, and we don't believe in. That's probably why most kids have paranormal experiences, and they stop as they get older, because they just quit believing, or told they're crazy, or that whole make-believe friend thing, they just said you're just making it up, and kids just naturally shy away and push that down when they don't get pushed up and highlighted with that. So that's the society has to change as a whole.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Being told you can't your whole life, you won't.
Right. All right. So tell me about this investigation, though. I was fascinated by you going solo, because I don't even have the balls to do that myself, I don't think.
Honestly, not a whole lot out there scares me. I've kind of, in my life, seen it all once.
Right.
It's been really bad. I guess I'm, as far as the dead, I'm able to see what they show me, pieces, how they looked at themselves. I'm able to see that in their emotions. They allow me sometimes to feel their emotions. So walking out there, it was just kind of what spirit was out there, and if it was negative and how negative it was, if I could take it. For the video, I didn't anticipate getting physically ill out there,
right.
But and there's something extremely bad out there lurking. I did a little bit more investigation into the place, and there's supposed to be 3 witches that are buried just off of hallowed ground, because they wouldn't allow them to be buried on church property.
Really?
At some point, this place has been around since the 1850s.
Right, because it was got the name Old Gunn by somebody actually fell, or what was the story behind that?
The designer and head builder fell from the bell tower and died. The rest of the place was demolished. The only thing that stands is the front face of the church and the actual bell tower itself you can walk into as you walk into the church. That still stands. Everything else is torn down. But there's 2 cemeteries. The one to the left is extremely old. The one to the right side is a little bit newer, but it's still old. And going out there, I guess doing it by myself, I wanted to see if I could, kind of more than anything. I was going to see the place.
He had no choice, okay? He's tough. Truth be told, we had no one else to watch the kids, and he's like, man, I guess I gotta go alone. But he did go alone.
Got it. You got to do what you got to do.
I went alone. It was rough.
Everything tried to stop you too. He called me like 3 times. You were like, I can't get there. Every time I've tried to get there, the roads were blocked. Everything flooded. He got lost like twice. Like it was, he kept calling like, I don't know if I'm even supposed to do this. And I was like, man, you're out there. Just go.
And then once you got there, they didn't want you to leave because you left your the ghost box speaker in the church, and you had to go back and get it.
I did. That one right there, kind of my heart sunk to my stomach. Right
like
there.
I gotta go back.
I couldn't find it in my pockets. It wasn't anywhere on the ground around me. I was like, man, I already did this once. I don't think I could do it again.
Right.
And, can't leave a piece of equipment. No man left behind. So
yeah, exactly.
I had to go back and get that. Luckily, it was just inside the property, so all it was a quick reach, and I didn't have to go back in.
Right.
That place, extremely haunted. We're going to actually go back and do a Halloween thing.
Okay.
That was supposed to have came the first time, and she'll also be with us.
Which will explain from the metaphysical side, or like for Sabbats, for pagan religions, Samhain is when the veil is the thinnest. So
Okay, yeah.
it's like to communicate. I'm getting goosebumps all over just talking about it. Like, oh. So if he chooses to go out on Halloween, Samhain, it's going to be ridiculous, because that is when the veil is the absolute thinnest. And they can reach out and touch you. You can see them a lot more easy. Like I'm getting goosebumps nauseous just even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Holy Grail, the full body apparition, you know.
Exactly. I mean, doesn't come. Catching it on camera or on video is so hard to do. I think of all the investigations I've done personally, and then here lately with a group, I've caught one shadow person, and that's it.
Did you have the opportunity to watch the Demon in My House video that he did?
I started to watch it, and then I got doing something. And I watched about half of it. I'm going to go back and hit, because there was two of them, wasn't there? Was two?
Just one.
There,
was just one?
Point, you'll see, like, it looks like almost like a feather, like floating, like at you. I mean, our house, like kind of like you said, you've always lived in a haunted house.
Right.
We always lived in a haunted house because of who we are. Our house is like a beacon of, hey, come check us out. So orbs, things like that. If you watch any videos of our kids' birthday parties or anything along those lines, there's always something, and it's so common every day. That episode was 1 hour in our living room, and it wasn't even like, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was around midnight.
Yeah, I had to edit it down a whole lot, and it was only about an hour. It's just once it started, it wouldn't stop. And the end of it, where I did cut it off, it was where I got a little spooked at. I was a little irritated that there was a negative entity in my house, and that it was mocking and saying not nice things. Right. So I started provocation, and when I did, there was 2 distinct loud bangs right outside of my house on my window. And in the sequence of it, it wasn't anything that fell up against it. It was a distinct bang from something heavy hitting my house as I was provoking. So that shook me up, and that was kind of toward the end of the video right there. That's where I cut that off.
Yeah, I mean, that'll do it to you. That's something. Now that you mentioned it, being what you guys do and what you do, are you concerned about with your child at home? Bringing those. I mean, you are better prepared for handling or stopping it before it even happens.
I have so much. Like let's see. I don't know. There's giant things like this is a giant negative energy filter. Basically, I have big, huge things like this. And so what I do also is I do stone gridding, where I use things like this and I amplify their energy times a gajillion. If you look at my front door, there's protection hanging above my door. The whole house is protected. The reason why it banged on the window is because it was talking to him, but it wasn't actually in the house. It was out there.
Right.
Because of what I do, our house is ridiculously protected. I smudge with sage at least once a week.
Palo Santo, Florida water. She concocts sprays for me for before and after investigations. Man, I got some time to be off and be a stay-at-home dad for a little bit. So I went hunting on YouTube for videos, and what I seen more than anything was paranormal investigators rushing out to anywhere they thought was spooky without any kind of protection on them. And this is real, and there are things out there that can definitely hurt you. And so, more than anything, as far as the YouTube thing goes, and we're getting ready to start with Witchy Wednesdays.
Cool.
With 100 subscribers. She's going to have a segment that we do every Wednesday where she explains different types of protection, different types of stones that protect you, the whole 9 yards.
Different things you can do. Like I said, I'm also a Reiki master, so I do a lot of really cool things with Reiki. Should be pretty interesting.
But, I mean, if you're a Christian, then you have the things you believe in that can protect you, because I'm a firm believer that it's not what you believe, but how much you believe in it that protects you.
Right.
The more you believe in it, the less fear you have. The less fear you have, the less you feed these entities.
Right.
They don't. Go ahead.
Oh, that's one thing that as I started doing this, because I just started myself going out professionally with a group, I should say, And that was my biggest concern was I don't worry about me so much, but what am I bringing something home to the family or my kids or my girlfriend's 5 kids. I don't want to, I've dealt with, paranormal activity my entire life, so it doesn't bother me, but I don't want to bring it home to somebody else who's not maybe as mentally strong. Because I'm a firm believer, your mental strength will help you. If you say don't, if you present a strong posture, you're in better shape than most. If you're weak-minded, they're going to attach to you.
Oh, absolutely.
So I know what I can do, but it's everybody else that I socialize with or in my life that I worry about. So
I stress to people that come into my shop and who want to try things, and for people like you who are going to go do things like that, you have to educate yourself in how to protect yourself, because a lot of times it's super basic. It is just carrying some of these rocks or getting a little spray bottle that has some sage in it, or very, very basic things that can help protect your house. So the second you get to your house, anything that is with you can't come in. But so you can't do what you do or do what he does and not be educated in how to protect yourself. Anybody who comes in and wants to dabble with spells or anything, I'm like, please understand that you can hurt yourself, someone else, and some of this stuff don't wash off. Like, we went to Georgia and our cousin, who is a teenager, was dabbling in calling demons, and she just thought,
really?
Yes, she thought she just
10-year-old, playing around to see if she could.
Yep, and the thing about it is that she actually interned with me at my shop last year, so she's well aware of what could happen, and so she just said she wanted to try it, and showed up at his aunt's house for the evacuation, and I was fine the whole trip. And I walked into the house, and the second I walked in, I felt like somebody had grabbed a hold of my stomach and just twisted it in knots. And I looked at him, and I'm like, I don't feel good. I need to go lay down. My stomach hurts really, really, really bad. His aunt was in a horrible mood. Everybody just seemed lethargic. The whole house was thick. And then it just, I don't know if he wants to tell you how because I ended up not.
Well, for a long story short, I kind of made my aunt let me in to check out the spirit box really quick, and immediately I started picking things up. So immediately she was intrigued, and it went as far as to name every member of my family, including myself and her, and proclaim itself to be a demon, and proclaim itself to want blood. And these are things that it said over the spirit box. When asking, why are you here? What do you want? Reply was, I want blood. I'm here for blood. So we had to get rid of that. Palo Santo works phenomenal. Negative entities and or demons. To burn fresh Palo Santo, it repulses negative entities. They can't be around it.
If sage doesn't work, it's one of those things where if you've tried sage and you tried some other things, then Palo Santo's a little strong.
Yeah, it's like sage on steroids for negative entities. It's
really, it's funny how sage can make you feel better after an investigation. Because whenever you go on an investigation, there is a heavy feeling to you after it's over, and once you do that, it lightens you and brings you back. I was shocked because I'd never been a really big believer in my younger days. I believed in the paranormal, but the other stuff, I don't know. But
I understand. I wasn't a believer till I was shown, until I felt, until I saw. It all seemed very hokey and oh, this is cute. And until you see it, until you feel it, until you understand, like you're saying, you sage, and afterwards you feel lighter. You feel better. You feel like,
I don't know if it was a mental thing, but after, the first few investigations, we didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. And then the last couple, we've done stuff. And just my general mindset of leaving the location, I felt better, and I wasn't concerned with that. Okay, is anything coming with me? It was just a load off my back that it helps, and I felt better because that's my whole concern.
Smudging, I call nature's Lysol. I joke because it actually does a lot of things.
Yeah, it's an antiseptic.
It kills bacteria in the air. So if your kids are sick or if you're sick, instead of spraying cancer all over your house, you get a smudge stick, light it, and then smudge your house.
Yeah, sage has been burned for 25,000 years to cleanse things and purify things and spirits, and to this day Catholics burn sage at mass.
Sage and copal and frankincense and all that kind of good stuff.
So 25,000 years can't be wrong.
It's time tested and proved.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but when you get that up and running, definitely let me know so I can subscribe to that, because I'm fascinated by it and I want to protect myself and be better prepared, essentially. So
That's
definitely
exactly I do that is all the paranormal investigators out there, if something does grab you and get a hold of you, you'll know it, because it'll turn your life around and upside down, and before you know it, everybody's mad at you and you've done things you didn't want to do. Attachments start oppressing you before they start getting a hold of you and getting into you. They start taking away things that are close to you, like people and finances. And so you start self-imploding and don't understand why. And that's the first part of the oppression before the possession.
Right. Yeah, I definitely am going to get with you after this in the near future, because we are actually going to a location that the group that I belong to went to, and very active, and he wants to go back to but he wants me to go because I couldn't go to this last one, but I said I'd go, but I definitely want to protect myself, because there is something, and I definitely think from what I've heard and what I've seen and the evidence that they've caught, that I don't think it's not good. Whatever it is, whatever's there is not good. So I'm definitely going to get with you after this and the next week or so, and you can kind of fill me in, because I'm ignorant when it comes to it. I never really didn't say I believe, but I kind of was like, yeah, whatever. It might work, it might not. I didn't put a lot of stock into it, I should say. But now, the more I go, maybe I'm just getting wiser in my elderly years. There's something to it, and I better start paying attention a little bit more.
Absolutely. If you have a faith or a belief, then you can depend on that. But there are a lot of people out there today that don't necessarily believe in God or Jesus, or undecided or agnostic. And a Christian priest will tell you the same thing I will. If you have nothing to believe in, if you don't have any faith in anything, then you're more susceptible to an attachment or a possession. That is being spiritually weak, not believing in something.
Exactly.
Even if it's complete and utter faith in yourself, you have something to go on, some ground to stand on. But if you don't believe in anything, then that's when you have to start depending on outside things to protect you. Stones, rocks, herbs, oils, things like that can actually and are known for warding off spirits. So those things aren't dependent upon your faith. They work on their own accord.
Cool. That, like I said, I'll get with you on that, and we can talk about that some more, because I'm going to need it. And everybody that's out there doing this kind of work, they got to prepare. They got to educate themselves, because the worst thing can happen is something get attached to you and just brings your world crumbling in.
Absolutely. I've seen it, and I've fell victim to it before,
Well, and the cool thing is that if that does happen, I can help, he can help. I have everything that you need. Where I work, we ship. And that's not necessarily a plug. I won't name any names where I work or anything, but I can. Everything that I'm going to talk about, I can provide for you. So, like, if you're interested in the rocks I'm telling you about, or the herbs, or whatever, I can provide all of it, whether you're local or, 1,000 miles away.
Yep.
Cool. Sweet. Well, go ahead and plug it.
Well, it's Labyrinth Walking, and we're in Socastee, which is a little sub area of Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
Little metaphysical shop. We do a little bit of everything. We do tarot card readings and Reiki, and we teach classes, which I love. My favorite class is how to manifest change through love and gratitude. It's a law of attraction class. So we just do a little bit of everything, and I help people every day who are scared and confused, and weird stuff's happening and they don't understand, and it's literally what I do. That's what you said earlier. If somebody comes in and says, this is going to sound crazy, I probably hear it at least 10 times a day.
Right. Yeah. Do you have you have a website where people can... Labyrinthwalking.net
is where our online store is, which you can find us on Facebook. I think we're on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, we're everywhere.
Okay, I'll be sure to put all that. I'll get it in writing and all that, and put it all in the links to at the website and even on the YouTube page and all that stuff. So that way you can start educating people and help you out and help them out, really. And that's the most important part.
Thank you. My boss, her name is Bree as well. We joke. I go by Bree and she goes by Bree. We say two Brees are better than one. She sat around wishing for a clone a couple years ago, and when she first started, and in I walk. And so literally, we are down to our birthdays being a week apart. We are two Brees, and we say it's meant to Bree, and so it's a lot of fun.
So what do you have coming up? You got any investigations coming up other than the going back for Halloween?
Nothing set up at the moment.
We're trying to get Ripley's.
Yeah, we're trying to get Ripley's, and there's a couple other houses we'd like to go to in the area. But right now, nothing's set in stone except for the return to the Old Gunn Church.
All righty. Well, soon when you go, let me know. When you post another video, we'll have you on again if you get something really good, and let me know how that Halloween goes, because that would be awesome. Like she said, it, there's a thin spot. You got to watch yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, he won't be alone this time. This time, I think Ray and Tina are going to go with us, and I'm going to be there. So
yeah, I don't want to go back.
He won't be alone on Saturday.
I don't want to go
there
back.
There might be a couple really girly screams, because, I mean, I don't care how tough I am. If it's scary, I'm going to, just a little bit. Or
That's okay. I've done it myself.
Yeah, it should be interesting for sure.
You'd be surprised how high this low voice gets when I get scared.
I know, that's right. I do the same thing, man. A lot of that video, it was everything I could to not sound like a 12-year-old little girl.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on, and we will definitely have you on again. And be safe out there.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it. You have a good night.
You too.
All right.
All right. There you have it. That was my interview with Fear Not Paranormal. Big thanks to them for coming on the podcast and talking to me, taking time out of their evening to share their thoughts with you and me. So be sure to follow them and subscribe to their YouTube channel. They want to get that subs numbers up and help them out. I know I've subscribed, so I want you to subscribe too. So follow them at Fear Not Paranormal on Twitter and on Facebook, and follow me on Twitter at night_ghost. And also go ahead and hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel, because we got a lot of things planned. We got some investigation videos coming up, some more podcast videos coming up. So until next time, take care.